This old Pepper dog right here, she's a good old dog. She's just kind of mean sometimes. It is built out of, I believe, to be a oak, and I don't think it's a white oak. I think it may be a type of wood or a tree called a honey oak. So not sure about all this, so just bear with me on that. I'm gonna do the best I can to describe it. This barn was located approximately 5 miles from my house, and there was a gentleman, a friend of mine, called the Bearded Wonder, but he anyway, his name is Spencer. Maybe a year or so down the road, old Spencer gave me a call. Mikey went over there, he was wanting to build a new shop. So I don't have good footage of this. When I took it down, I have small video and pictures. Let her rip.
Beautiful.
Yeah, you're beautiful. This is the pretty side. It ain't all beautiful. They got them trusses notched into that beam on top, and it counterlevers out 11 feet. It stands free by itself, I hope. But then you get to the side that wasn't protected by all the lean-tos. The weather got to her pretty good. She was covered up, but still not bad. So it started out a barn. It is a dovetail notch log style, as you can see here, and we'll get into it more in depth here in a little bit and talk about that. But anyhow, it was in very good condition, considering, because a lot of it had lean-tos like I have built here on it, and it had protected a couple sides. Now a couple sides was a little bit rough. The north side was the worst. Then the east, the west, and the south side of the barn was in very good condition. We built it right here. We had this structure without a roof on it, and we just added this roof for a little picnic area, which of course it's holding some old goodies now, like this old 1915 Model T sawmill that was converted over during probably Depression era. Anyhow, let's go around and check it out. It was growing out of the ground from here and from here. So it had stumps basically coming out of the ground from there and there. So, and then look how they come up here, and I guess something bent it over and they joined in together. It's amazing. They grafted in as one. Kind of like a marriage, if you will. They grafted themselves into one. It started out there, that one came over and joined in on it. Just very interesting to me. I looked at it, I said, this is gonna be my old handrail going up on those steps, and she's a sturdy one too. Just wanted to say that for a minute. But I love that for a handrail. It just really worked out super nice. All right, let's talk about the door for a minute. This door has a lot of meaning also. I don't know if you can notice the blacksmith hinges. They do not operate, they're just here for looks. These are some I collected through my life. Found some over at Uncle Tom's farm, the old 1800s farm we have. And I found some there. Found some when I was a teenager, out in old barns and stuff. And I only have about 5 or 6 in my collection, but they're very neat. And they all have their unique things to them. But all in a way are super similar. And so I wanted to add them on there, just give it an old look. And let's talk about the wood on it. This wood on the bottom right here, my brother gave it to me up in Franklin. He kept this thing, and it's some wide boards. They're probably a good 16, 18 inches. And I said, I'm gonna incorporate them in on the door of this thing. And I thought it'd just be really nice. So that's what I done there. So, okay, let's talk about I believe this is an elk. I love it as the door handle to this thing. I think it really makes it look nice. Well, let's we'll just open it up for a second. All the wood that came for the trusses for the ceiling joist, all this wood right here you're looking at, all of that, and some of the stuff underneath, and for all the porches up top here, all this lean-to stuff. I tore down an old house. This was the rafters in the house, and the house was at least 100 years old, and they're true sawmilled lumber. So I thought it would fit in great for this project. And the Lord just put it all together, y'all, to be honest. If I tried to put all this together, it'd never happen. I know I'm gonna say a lot about stuff I got from people, but this is 2x6 and 2x4s we salvaged out of the old house. And it is in very good condition. When this roof was original, by the way, while we're talking about it, it had boards. It was covered in boards. So I'm assuming that the roof was originally wooden shingle. So it had wooden shingles originally for the roof. And this is all the boards right here that came off of that roof. So I decided to make the porch out of it. Most of it being oak or hardwood. You can see the old sawmill marks in it. These boards range from size, but I thought it'd make a great porch floor. It just all came together. So you can see all this porch is all that wood. And I wasn't going to reuse it and put wooden shingles on it, so I figured I'd use it for a porch. Worked out very well. I know y'all have already noticed the bench. Just a neat piece. Anyhow, thought I'd share it with you. Me and my wife put it together. We just made a little bench out of it. We had it down there actually by the fire pit. And then when I built this, I said, let's move it up here on the porch. But this thing has wooden pulleys, no leather, still has the old leather belt joined together there. Just want to show how primitive this thing is. It is super, super old. All right, inside, my brother gave me this old flintlock. It's made to look like an old flintlock rifle, and he got a hold of it somewhere and thought I'd really like it, and he picked it up for me, and I sure like that thing. But this old wood stove, I stood around this thing when I was a kid several times. Go up to grandpa's, and this it'd be cold, me and brother, and I'm gonna tell you, it was good to have this thing. My dad kept it for years. He said, I want to move this in the cabin. So we moved it in here, and I just cherish to have it, y'all, really honestly. Let's talk about the sawmill for a minute. This is the blade off of the original Frick sawmill. I'm planning on making some videos on that sawmill running back in the 1950s. Me and my brother still own this sawmill. It's a Frick, around a 1936 Frick sawmill. The one my grandpa made a lot of their living with. Helped feed my aunts and uncles and my dad. And built I don't know how many countless barns. While we're talking about it, this is the board that you see right across here. That sawmill. This is the last board that this sawmill cut. It just looks like a simple old 2x6 to everybody looking, but this is the last board that my dad cut on that sawmill, and it means a lot. When we went and picked the sawmill up in Virginia where it was, this was still on the sawmill. Dad had moved it up there where he'd moved in Cana, Virginia, but that's the last board my dad ever cut. I don't know if you noticed it, but it's bowed. It was sitting on that sawmill and just bowed down through there, but I said I'm gonna make a shelf out of this thing and cherish it. So keep some stuff you love, y'all. That's what I'm saying. I use anything and everything. That old hubcap, I got in some old stuff at a sale, cut it out for that. Just things. Let's get back talking about this cabin. This is the door. Sorry about that. This was an old piece I found over at Uncle Tom's. I thought it'd make a good handle. It's hand hewn too, made, and they used to use it for something. Had a big dowel in it. I think what it was, if you see that hole right there, and then you'll see these holes right here. These had wooden pegs in them, and what they'd do, they'd hang their harnesses on them from the mules and the horses and stuff, and that's what that was. You can see how it's curved. Come on in here, Pepper. Where you been? You can see how that thing's curved, and it probably was in an old barn like this to hang harnesses and mules on. I don't know if you can see the hand hewn marks on that thing, but it's a pretty piece. We're gonna get back to looking here. This old pathway I built. This pump was actually at this barn right here, laying on the side of it when I took this log structure down. If you're looking at this side, I ended up having to put tin on this, and the reason I done that because the logs had been weathered pretty bad. I mean, they was decent, but I just wanted to put this on to protect them from getting any more damage. This is the original tin. I thought, man, it'd make a really good siding on this thing, and it's really turned out really nice. So there it is, but it worked out really well. I put a little stoop up there, just run an old pipe vent. This project is incomplete. We'll get there one day. Not exactly sure where I'm gonna go with it from now, but here's another look from this side. The old fire pit. I just took the smaller one and basically just ripped it in half and used it up here for a header. Set my porch trusses on. Used to be a barn. I said we're gonna make a cabin out of it. Just got a thing for old structures and barns, y'all. Just something I always enjoyed. Pepper, come! She's over there running around over my neighbor's yard. I don't know if you noticed how I notched these steps out and just slid the boards in it. They hold themselves basically, but I went ahead and put a couple screws in anyway. Anyway, I hope y'all have enjoyed this. I want to take a closer look at these logs. I don't know if y'all notice, but they got a dark patch in the center here, right in there. And they're, of course, they're hand hewn, and they are solid as a rock, by the way. Look at them old airheads. Found them over in a neighbor's yard and I just stuck them down in here. That's old turtleback scraper right there. Need to take that in the house or lose it. I just stuck them in that old hole. I forgot about that. If you'll notice on these grains, I hope this thing picks it up. I hope you can see it. I'm gonna try to get different angles. But the grains on this wood are so tight, y'all. Most of these logs were probably only 10 inches across in diameter, and they were 80 years old. I've counted the rings on them, and I've counted them up to 80 years old, possibly even a little bit more on some of them. But all the grains, I'm gonna try to go over here. This wood is super solid. Get me a little hammer here. Hold on. Let's go get a hammer. If I can get over there. This is kind of a storage unit. Let's get a hammer here. Oh. I want you to see this wood right here, how hard it is, y'all. Watch it. That's pretty tough right there. I think it's petrified by now. Watch that, pings that hammer off. But anyway, let's put this up. That'll work for now. Alright, I hope that it picks up how tight these rings. It. Try to help me count them. From what I learned in forestry in high school, this center section is the start of the tree basically. Forgot all the names, but it was 5 years I think. And then of course every ring is a year. And you can see how tight these things are. It's incredible. And this is original right here, y'all. These have not been cut off. This is the original stacked corner. This was the best corner that was in the best shape on the structure. Oh, I got a couple other things I want to talk about too. Probably a lot of them. If you get bored with it, just turn it off. But if you like it, appreciate you watching and staying with me here. This is the original corner also. There's some of that old wood off the house. Even these posts come out of that house. This old piece of driftwood here. I want to talk about the date of this thing. I'm not sure of the date, but we're standing on close besides one log down. If you go one log down from where we're at, this was the original height inside this thing whenever I took it down. Well, if you'll notice these notches right here, this is where they would run runners. Notches, obviously you could tell how tall I am, okay? So if you see these notches right here, they're probably chest height to me. So obviously I could not be walking under them right now, if you know what I'm talking about. So right here, in some kind of way I'm trying to say it, these notches had beams running across right here. So this thing had a loft up top, and they probably kept hay and different things up there for their animals, of course. So what I was going to say was, this cabin had literally sunk in the ground probably a foot or more. Then all the manure from the animals had rose up on the floor of it and covered the bottom 2 logs. This barn would have been taller, but I lost 2 or 3 logs off the bottom over time, and manure and build up around the barn and stuff like that, if that makes sense. I'm trying to do the best I can with it, but you know, these notches should have been up here, at least up there. So we lost 2 logs in the ground over time. So I'm hoping that'll help date this thing, but honestly I do not know the actual dating. Oh yeah, by the way, the insides of these logs look pretty good, really great actually, considering. But the outsides had damage on the outside from the weather. So the inside still looks original and nice, and I really like that. So, but let's move on a little bit. These top right here, I'll show it in the pictures later, but you see these hand-hewn. The rest of this is oak right here, and I believe it's a honey oak because of this dark pattern in the middle, and just that's what I'm going by. Not 100% sure, but they found the best grove of trees they could find with these tight rings, and probably cut this thing down in the winter time while the sap was out of them, and that's when you get your best cabins. This here was hand-hewn out square, okay? And what it was, I'll show you in the pictures whenever I put them on there. This beam actually went out 10 feet from this structure. So they had like a, what you want to say, a counter lever, so they could pull their wagon in front of the barn here underneath it, so they could unload their hay or whatever up top. But I'll show you all the pictures. I don't have a lot of video. I apologize for that. I wasn't really planning on doing this, although I always love to do videos and stuff. I never have had a GoPro like this, so coming back now, trying to tell nobody about my secret door latch back here. You hear me, Pepper? Don't you tell nobody. All right, let's get some more of it. I hope I ain't boring y'all to death. But of course I bought new metal roofing and put this porch on. These beams right there I was showing you, they stuck out 10 foot long with no post originally, and just cantilevered over. Try to get done rambling. I just want to show this thing off a bit. I know people love this stuff, and just want to tell the history of it. I built these concrete piers to stick it on, and use this cedar and put some, I'll take some show some pictures. I'll put some big long screws and sit them down in that concrete while it was wet, and made my foundation. I don't know if you can see the floor system under there. This is all, some of it's new scrap wood, what I use, and some of them 6x6s for a post in the center just for extra support. And these are old parts of the 6x6s that were halves. I just reclaimed everything on this thing. The only thing I really had to buy was the tin and the screws. Anyway, there's another one of them columns over there. Yep. Just want to show you this little walkway. I had to cut the level of the dirt down. If you notice, this dirt right here is probably at least 2.5 foot tall where that well pump is. So I cut this down so I'd have a walkway, because it was sloped right toward. I had to cut all of it down, so just made it a lot nicer. Make me a little walkway through here. This is my muscadine vine right here. She's finally starting to thirst pretty good. She's doing real good these days. Get some good old muscadines off of it. So now I got it where I can just pick them off. All right, Pepper, come on. It's a real good dog. She listens pretty, come on. Somewhat, anyway. Got some firewood cut up. We're ready for the old campfire. Been losing some trees, so we got plenty of wood. But I hope y'all enjoyed this old cabin. Alright, I wanted to show these lights on the cabin while it's lit up here. Before it gets completely dark, you can see everywhere, but we got it lit up. Gets a little dark, I'll show it when it's dark. Just got it lighting up this area. And then me and Billy got us a little fire going this evening. Thought we'd come out here and get old fire going in Grandpa's wood stove here. Billy's staying warm.
Oh yeah.
And it's kind of hot. I mean cold.
Yes, it's very cold.
But it's getting warm now. That old Pepper dog down here, you can barely see her. See how these lights are on the porch. I don't have them on the inside, but you can see it's lighting it up out here. We'll show a little more as it gets dark. Lit up pretty good. Got the back lit up here. Go around to the porch. We got some fire going in there, and Billy's in there staying warm in there. Hey, Billy.
Hi. Nice and guys in here.
Ah, it's pretty good. Of course, it's opened up. You can't get it all, but Pepper. Pepper, come. Come on, Pepper. Let's go.